Welcome to another episode of Riding and Wrenching, the biggest little YouTube channel on the entire interwebs. I am your host, Q the Rider, and in today's episode, I'm going to talk about some of the things that I did wrong in 2024. I'm also going to talk about some of the things that I did right, and I'm going to share with you some of my plans for 2025. Before I get started, I want to thank my sponsor, Volunteer Audio. If you are looking to get a sound system installed on your Harley Davidson, you definitely want to check them out, especially if you have one of the newer Harleys, whether it's a CBO or regular road glide or street glide. They have what it takes to install a more powerful amplifier. It's called an A to B module. They're the only ones that have it. Definitely check them out. It's a phenomenal setup, and you will be glad that you did it. My other sponsor are my channel members, and I want to thank each and every one of you for continuing to support me. If you're interested in supporting the channel by becoming a channel member, be sure to check the description of this video. Let's get into it. Some of the things that I did wrong in 2024. First thing I'm going to talk about is the longest motorcycle trip that I've taken so far, a 5,000-mile round trip from Memphis, Tennessee to Nova Scotia, Canada, the upper part of Nova Scotia, Canada. Boy, it was a beautiful ride, but unfortunately, I underestimated how big Nova Scotia is. I underestimated how much I would enjoy being there and the things that I wanted to see, and I blew it. Now, we are in the northern part of Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia is an island off the coast of, off the Atlantic coast of Canada, and it is huge. I had no idea how big this island was. I was looking, when I initially planned to come here, I looked at it and I'm like, oh, okay, it's an island. We should be able to tour the whole thing in a day. I assumed it was about the size of Long Island, New York or something like that. Oh no, this is the size of a state. In fact, it's bigger than 14 of the United States. And there's less than 1 million people that live on this island, so it's not very densely populated, but it is very, very beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. So we are staying in a cabin here right on the coast, and this is the view from the cabin. It's absolutely gorgeous. It was like the CliffsNote version of Nova Scotia, and man, just a missed opportunity because it's not a place that's easy to get to on a motorcycle because it's far, and I don't know if I'll go again. I want to, but I just don't know if I have an opportunity to do that again. So that was really, really a blown opportunity. And if you have an opportunity to go to Nova Scotia, you want to plan to be in Nova Scotia for probably maybe a week, if you can spare that much time, but definitely you want more than 2 days, which is what I did. There's just not enough time. Next big mistake that I made happened on Christmas Eve this year, just a few weeks ago, when I fell off my motorcycle. It was cold outside, and I was using some new cones that I bought from eBay, and they slide. And unfortunately, my front wheel, while the bike was leaning, ran over one of the cones and took out my front wheel, so the bike started sliding. I fell. Of course, I put my foot down, which made it worse, and then ended up I got scratched, banged up a little bit, scratched. Fortunately, no broken bones, but my thumbnail is black, so that's kind of gross. Oh, someone told me it's going to fall off, so I'm kind of terrified of that. But anyway, I'm looking forward to getting some better weather so I can get out and practice some more. Another big mistake that I made in 2024 is my daggone half-shell helmet. Riding in New Orleans with the half-shell helmet on, I was nearly hit in the face with a football while I was traveling 70 miles an hour down the interstate. Seems like the most odd place to get hit by a football, but I was probably, I don't know, a couple of inches away from getting knocked off my bike by that football, and all because I had that stupid half-shell helmet on. I do not wear a half-shell helmet unless I'm doing slow speed practice because it's just not worth the risk for me. Next mistake I made was when I scheduled Lock and Lean 201 during the same week when they were having a motorcycle rodeo. That was way too much for me. I thought I was done today. Oh my God. Because the thing that I found out about this class is that it's so long, it's an endurance test. And when you get frustrated or pissed off like I was earlier, you got to keep going.
That emotional roller coaster is something that we do on purpose.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay.
because if you think about it, when you get emotional while you're out there riding, Okay, it changes the way you think, it changes the way you're going to react. Well, now you're training to the point where you're uncomfortable. And what we want you to do is be comfortable being uncomfortable, because you're going to have to deal with it. What happens when you ride in the rain? You're tired, you're hot, there's traffic, all these other issues are going on out there, and then something bad happens. You still have to survive. Well, now you're used to pushing through that, and that's what these things do.
But it was at least 30 hours of training, and that's after traveling all the way down there and back. I was exhausted towards the end of the week, and I just don't feel like I got as much out of that as I could have. So I just overdid it. It was just way too much for 1 week, and I won't do that again. I'm going to take classes again, and I'm going to do rodeos, just not together. Next mistake I made was not buying enough NVIDIA stock. I'm not going to talk about that a lot, but man, if you trade stocks, NVIDIA was a rocket ship last year, and although I own some NVIDIA stock, I should have sold everything that I had and just bought NVIDIA stock. Man, what a missed opportunity. Unfortunately, we don't have crystal balls, so, I mean, who knew that was going to happen? I certainly didn't. All right, let's talk about some of the things that I did right. Number one, my Road King, my Police Road King. That's been an amazing bike. I really like it. It's got a 114 motor. It's quick, it's light, and it's helped me really improve my confidence level doing slow speed practice. So practicing on this bike has helped me perform better when I'm riding either one of my Road Kings. I really, really like my Road King. Absolutely love it. Next thing I did good, my 5,000-mile road trip to Nova Scotia. In spite of the fact that I didn't plan enough time in Nova Scotia, I had a great time the whole way, had a great group of guys that we traveled with. The whole trip was a blast. The fact of the matter is, any portion of that trip, I could have stayed longer there and just had an absolute great time. I could have stayed in New Hampshire, rode Mount Washington more than once, and there's so much cool riding in Mount Washington that I did not know about. I know now, so I'm going to be going back. I enjoyed spending time in New York with the Steel Horses Motorcycle Club and the training group out there, Motorcycle Gymkhana. Man, that was so cool training with those guys. So everything about that trip was incredible. Next thing I did good in 2024 was I rolled over 100,000 miles on my 2018 Road Glide. That's awesome, because I've done all of the maintenance on that bike myself. Well, I'll take that back. I've had the dealer do a couple of oil changes, but by and large, I maintain that bike myself. What the fuck? It was a challenge that I had for myself when I first bought that bike. I wanted to learn how to maintain it, and I've proven to myself that what I already knew, and that is, if you have a machine and you take care of it and properly maintain it, it will last a long time and it will be very reliable. This bike has been bulletproof for me, just absolutely amazing, and I'm going to keep riding it. We're going to keep putting miles on it. My initial goal was to put 400,000 miles on this bike. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that because I have more than one motorcycle now, but we're going to continue to rack up miles on it, and I'm going to continue to do the maintenance myself. Next thing I did right, I retired. And I'm absolutely loving it. I'm about a month and a half into retirement, and it's been a blast. I wish I had been able to do it sooner, but I'm here now, and I am absolutely enjoying it. I'm hoping to take all this additional time that I have now to pour more time back into my YouTube channel and improve the quality of content that I put out and improve the quantity of content that I put out. So hopefully that works out well, but at some point I will probably get a part-time job somewhere just to keep me busy. Now, some of my plans for 2025, we're going to start off by talking about training. I am going to take another class with Lock and Lean. I'm going to retake the 201 class, and I'm going to retake it because I just don't feel like I did well when I took it last year. I did pass, but if I had to give myself a letter grade on my participation in that class last year, I would say it was a D. I want an A. So I'm going to go back to Lock and Lean and retake their 201 class. I'm not going to take their 301 class this year, maybe next year, but I am going to take that class eventually, but I want to do 201 again so that I feel a little bit better coming out of it compared to what I did last year. I'm also going to continue to train with my friend Robert Simmons with Be the Boss of Your Motorcycle.
Biggest YouTube channel on the entire
biggest little YouTube.
Yeah,
you already messed it up.
So I will be heading down to Savannah sometime this year. We'll do a practice session down there, or maybe I will sneak up on them in one of his traveling practice sessions. Who knows? But I'm also going to take, I may take one other class. I was invited to participate in a class in Augusta, Georgia. I may do that. I just got to see how my schedule is going to go. So, and I'll let you know a little bit more about that program and how it goes. Other plans for the year, Laconia Bike Week. I had such a great time riding in New Hampshire last year. I've got to go back, so we're going to do that. And I think my buddy Jogo from Jogo Motorcycle Adventures is going with me. So we're going to have a slow ride contest again. I'm going to redeem myself this year, and I'm going to crush Jogo. Maybe. Also, Run to the Hills. I think he's up to Run to the Hills 4 or 5. I'm not sure. I love going to Run to the Hills because I have an opportunity to meet so many of the subscribers to my YouTube channel.
What's the name of the channel again?
Right.
It doesn't matter what the channel.
Gives me an opportunity to just kind of hang out and meet people. I've met lifelong friends there. Well, I'm still alive, so I don't know if that counts as lifelong, but I've met friends there that I've known since Run to the Hills 1, and we're still good friends to this day. And so I enjoy going there just for the camaraderie. In some ways, it's kind of like a reunion. Run to the Hills is a blast. So definitely look into that if you have not been. Now, there is a motorcycle rodeo in Memphis, in the Memphis, Tennessee area. I'm hoping to participate in that this year. The participants are predominantly motor officers, but they're really cool. I've had a blast the last couple of years going there and hanging out. But if I'm able to participate this year, this will be my first year actually being in the rodeo. So that's my plan. We'll see how that goes. My long distance trip that I have planned so far is we're going to Colorado. So my motorcycle club, some members from my motorcycle club, we're going to go out there and ride the $1 Million Highway, and we're going to ride Pikes Peak. So that should be a lot of fun. And I think I don't know if there's some other routes that we can do in Colorado. I'll try if I can. And of course, if I have an opportunity to meet with a motorcycle club between here and there, then we'll do that as well. Next thing for 2025, I have a new project that I'm working on with Robert Simmons and Finesse the Challenger. We have a YouTube podcast called Splitting Lanes.
Redesigned. They redid the frame because the previous one had an aluminum frame. This one has a steel frame. And the engine was redesigned. Oh, see, look. Look here. Now, look, man, look. Hey, now, hey, I stayed awake, and for all that Harley Davidson stuff, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure y'all can come up. Yeah, as y'all can come up for this year, all right? Hey, man, see what? Hey, I mean, look, look, man, y'all see what I'm dealing with here. Do you see this? Because you guys just don't understand what I'm doing for you, all right?
We already have 3 episodes posted, and we're going to be doing episodes on a regular basis. So be sure to check it out. Episode number 3 is hilarious, so definitely check it out and let me know what you think about it. And my next project that I'm working on is my channel that I'm devoting to electric vehicles and other cars. So I only have a couple of videos posted, but now that I'm retired, I'll have more time to focus on producing content for that channel as well. So be sure to check it out if you have an interest in learning more about EVs. This is Q. I'm riding, I'm wrenching, and I am out. For my outtake video today, I'm going to share with you a audiobook that you definitely want to check out. It was freaking awesome. It's called Ready Player One. Now, if that sounds familiar to you, it's because they made a movie out of it a few years ago, and it was directed by Steven Spielberg. Shame on you, Steven Spielberg, for ruining that audiobook, because the movie sucks. The audiobook is awesome. It is a futuristic story about this contest about video games. Now, it's not a movie that's particularly about video games, but if you were around during the 80s and went to arcades or maybe had an Atari or a Commodore 64 or a ColecoVision or any one of the other games that we had an opportunity to play in the 80s, you're going to be able to relate to a lot of the content. But that's not really what the movie is about, or the movie. That's not what the audiobook is about. The audiobook is actually about why you should not play games and why you should interact with people face to face. That's really what it culminates about towards the end. And it was phenomenal to me. I thought it was really good. Now, again, Steven Spielberg ruined it with this movie, because this movie seems to be directed towards like young people today who won't be able to relate to a whole lot of the content talking about arcade games from the 80s. I mean, so as an example, one of the things that they talked about was how you would put a quarter on an arcade game to indicate that you're playing next. Well, if you go tell that to some little snot-nosed millennial nowadays, they may not know what a quarter is, for one thing, but then they might be shocked to find out that you had to put these quarters to play a game with these crappy graphics that we dealt with back then. But those games were a lot of fun. But in any event, this audiobook really touches on a lot of the memories that I had as a kid growing up, you know, in the 70s and 80s. So if you were into that type of thing back in the days, maybe a little bit more nerdy than average, then you absolutely will love this audiobook. It was absolutely phenomenal. So check it out. Let me know what you think.